In the vast expanse of life, marked by unpredictability and hardship, each of us is faced with a defining choice. Do we confront the storms of existence head-on, or do we seek refuge within the quiet sanctuary of our own soul? When it feels like the world itself has turned against you, how do you stand firm, unmoved by the weight of anxiety and the pressure of overwhelming events? Picture yourself enduring one of the most jarring psychological traumas possible, the sudden, tragic loss of someone you love. Not due to a long illness or the natural process of aging, but through a shocking, unexpected incident that alters everything in an instant. As you grapple with the pain of this loss, still trying to accept what's happened, another blow strikes. Betrayal by a trusted friend. Someone to whom you gave your confidence, your secrets, and your loyalty. This devastating combination, loss and betrayal, not only breaks your trust in the world and in people, but leaves you disoriented, uncertain of how to keep moving forward. It is in moments like these, when life feels unbearable, that Stoicism reveals its power, not as cold philosophy, but as a beacon of stability and strength. This school of thought teaches us a vital truth: to accept what lies beyond our control, to summon courage in changing what we can, and to cultivate the wisdom to know the difference. In these truths lies a form of strength that is not loud or dramatic, but quietly unshakable. Part of maintaining that strength, however, comes from protecting your inner world, and that includes knowing what conversations to avoid. There are 10 subjects in particular that, when spoken carelessly, can disturb your calm, delay your growth, and hinder your journey to inner freedom. In this video, we'll explore those 10 topics and why staying silent on them can help you build a stronger foundation for your spirit. A life of quiet balance, even when storms continue to roar outside. Before we dive in, I invite you to take on a small challenge. Watch all the way to the end. Each subject is a key that unlocks deeper understanding, and by the end, you may find yourself transformed, closer to what it means to live like a true Stoic. Topic 1. Avoid speaking about your struggles. Life brings with it immense trials. At times we feel isolated, lost in the midst of emotional storms and uncertain paths. From the small setbacks of daily life to spiritual crises that shake our core, every obstacle demands our resilience and patience. Yet in the quiet space of the inner self, Stoicism teaches us something profound. There is no need to voice every difficulty. There is power in meeting hardship with silence. Strength isn't found in complaining, but in enduring with resolve. When we suffer, our instinct may be to speak, to seek relief through words. But often this vocal expression only amplifies our suffering. The challenge feels larger, the pain more consuming. Instead, Stoicism shows us how to transform trials into fuel for growth, quietly and intentionally. True power isn't in emotional outbursts. It is in the calm strength of a person who continues forward despite the weight they carry. Let your character speak for you. Let your steady action, your persistence, and your unwavering dedication demonstrate your strength. Each obstacle we face is a chance to sharpen ourselves, a forge in which our will is tempered and our spirit refined. Choosing silence isn't weakness, it is discipline, a refusal to be defined by hardship. Let your hardships shape you, not through what you say about them, but through how you respond to them. In this way, even the darkest moments lose their power to define you. Be calm, be resilient, be unbreakable, and let every trial become a quiet step toward who you are meant to be. Topic 2. Keep your secrets guarded. The harshest wounds don't always come from enemies. Sometimes the deepest cuts are delivered by those closest to us, people we trusted completely. That's why revealing your inner world without discretion can be dangerous. Relationships that seem solid may turn out to be fragile. We may recognize familiar faces, but rarely do we truly know the hearts behind them. In this uncertain landscape, caution is not weakness, it is wisdom. Even among those who love us, not every truth should be shared. Some parts of our lives, our private thoughts, our most sacred truths, are meant to remain shielded, not because we don't trust others, but because we've learned to trust ourselves more. Stoicism, with its grounding principles, reminds us to move through life with self-control, to observe with clarity, to choose when and how to speak with precision and purpose. Keeping secrets is not about deceit, it's about self-respect. Your private experiences, your ideas, and even your vulnerabilities are sacred. Treating them with care affirms your boundaries and your sovereignty over your own mind. When you choose silence, you also choose protection, creating a boundary that keeps you focused, grounded, and untouchable. It demonstrates mastery over your emotions, your memories, and your message to the world. That said, not every truth should be buried forever. Sharing, when thoughtful and well-timed, can bring connection. It can deepen relationships. It can allow understanding to blossom in ways silence alone never could. But the difference lies in choosing wisely, speaking when the moment is right, and only to those who've proven themselves worthy of your trust. And if your private truths are ever exposed without your consent, Stoicism still holds the answer. You do not crumble. You do not react blindly. You remain composed. You respond with clarity, not chaos. You extract the lesson and move forward, stronger, wiser, and more unshakable than before. In this way, your silence becomes a statement, a mark of wisdom, a reflection of maturity. To be a true Stoic is not to hide from the world, but to walk through it with discipline, sharing your soul on your own terms. Hold your truths carefully, speak with intention. And always remember, not everything within you is meant to be seen by everyone else. Topic 3. Let your success speak in silence. At the core of Stoic philosophy lies a powerful principle: restraint in speech, especially when it comes to personal victories. Refraining from sharing your accomplishments isn't about hiding or downplaying them. It's a reflection of inner depth and maturity. There is wisdom in choosing not to showcase every triumph. Just as roots strengthen underground where no one sees, the most meaningful progress often happens away from applause. Let me tell you about a man named Liam, a gardener whose quiet discipline embodied this mindset. He took a barren patch of earth and, over time, turned it into a thriving sanctuary, vibrant with blossoms and alive with beauty. Every morning before the world stirred, Liam worked the soil in silence. He didn't boast about the labor. He didn't seek praise. His garden grew not because of recognition, but because of care. Through frost, pests, long days, and hard nights, he tended every plant like a sacred promise. When his garden finally bloomed, lush, radiant, full of life, Liam never bragged about the effort it took. He simply smiled, content in knowing what he'd built. His joy wasn't rooted in admiration. It lived in the process itself. His story holds a lesson. True growth doesn't crave an audience. It thrives quietly, with focus and dedication. Achievements are most powerful when they are lived, not broadcasted. When you keep your victories to yourself, you learn to find fulfillment in effort rather than recognition. You free yourself from the need for others to validate your worth. You become the type of person who wakes up every day knowing who you are and needing no one else to say it for you. Your energy then stays focused on improvement, on becoming, on doing more, not talking more. Let your daily actions reflect who you are becoming. Let your evolution unfold through consistency and character, not through announcement. In doing so, you live a life not ruled by the fleeting lights of praise, but grounded in purpose. A life of self-respect, progress, and true humility. So practice restraint, speak less of what you've done, and let what you continue to build tell the real story of your growth. Topic 4. Keep your next moves to yourself. Picture a chessboard. One player sits calmly, making thoughtful moves while saying nothing, as their opponent tries to guess their intentions. Each move carries meaning. Each pause hides a deeper plan. It's not just a game of logic. It's a lesson in restraint, patience, and strategic silence. In chess, silence is power. The ability to conceal your intentions can decide victory or defeat. This same principle applies to life. Stoicism teaches us that keeping our next steps private is not only wise, it's essential. When you hold your plans close, you safeguard your energy from external interference. You remove distractions. You protect your motivation from judgment, criticism, and unnecessary influence. There's humility in staying quiet about your intentions. Not everyone needs to know your goals, and not every goal is strengthened by exposure. Silence fosters concentration. It helps you stay connected to your mission. By not broadcasting your next move, you remove the noise and pressure of public expectations. You focus solely on what needs to be done, not on how it might be perceived. In this space of quiet determination, you give yourself permission to grow without needing approval. You become self-directed rather than reactive. Keeping your goals private is also a declaration of independence. You are in control. You decide your pace. You navigate challenges without commentary or interference. And more importantly, you avoid the false sense of accomplishment that often comes with talking too much about your plans. Praise can create complacency. It tricks the mind into thinking progress has already been made when the real work hasn't begun. By holding your vision in silence, you sharpen it. You let the results speak when they're ready, and not a moment sooner. In the Stoic mindset, silence isn't secrecy born from fear, it's clarity born from purpose. It allows your actions to carry more weight than your words ever could. So be intentional with what you share. Let your progress unfold in private. And when success arrives, let it arrive without the need for a spotlight. Your steps will echo far more powerfully when they follow a path walked in discipline, not driven by attention. Topic 5. Refrain from speaking about others. We live in a world that flattens privacy, where people are often reduced to conversations, opinions, and gossip. Who's dating whom? Who made a mistake? Who succeeded or failed? These topics dominate small talk, but they offer little value and often cause real harm. Now imagine if those same conversations were about you. How would it feel to be judged, discussed, or misunderstood when you're not even present to speak for yourself? Naturally, you'd feel exposed, vulnerable, misrepresented, and that alone should be enough to remind us what we dislike receiving, we shouldn't give. There are several key reasons to avoid talking about others. First is the weight of words. Speech holds power, even when casual. Words can uplift, but they can also destroy. Stoicism calls us to be disciplined with our speech, to speak with intention, not impulse, and often that means saying nothing at all. Second is the redirection of focus. When we speak about others, we drift from the one thing we can truly influence, ourselves. We give time and attention to what lies beyond our control, when that same energy could be used to build inner strength, sharpen discipline, and deepen purpose. Third is the environment we help shape. When we choose not to gossip, we create space for dignity. Respect becomes the norm, not the exception. And that energy ripples outward, influencing the people around us, perhaps more than we realize. Fourth is the development of compassion. Everyone stumbles, everyone fails. When we recognize this, we become slower to judge and quicker to understand. Holding our tongues is not silence born of fear. It is silence born of wisdom. It's a sign that we understand people are far more than their mistakes. Choosing not to speak about others is not just a behavioral rule. It's a way of life, a discipline, a moral compass that keeps us grounded. The Stoic doesn't chase drama or opinions. They stay rooted in character. They don't need to point fingers, because they're too busy refining their own soul. In this interconnected world, your true worth isn't defined by what others say about you, but by what you say about others when they're not in the room. So pause before you speak. Ask yourself, is this kind? Is it necessary? Is it constructive? Is it mine to say? If not, let it go. Every time you choose restraint, you grow. You protect your peace. You honor the dignity of those around you. And you walk the Stoic path, not with pride, but with quiet integrity. You've now passed the halfway point on this journey. 5 lessons down, 5 to go. That in itself is a mark of discipline and commitment. Take a moment, breathe, and if you're still with us, leave a comment saying, "I've reached the halfway mark on the path to becoming a true Stoic." Let that be your reminder. Your progress is real. Topic 6. Keep your kindness quiet. Picture a candle glowing softly in the darkness. Its flame doesn't flicker for attention. It simply gives light, gentle, constant, and warm, without demanding praise. That's what true kindness looks like. In today's world, where good deeds are often turned into content, where generosity is followed by a selfie, where every act of service is packaged for applause, doing good in silence has become a rare and radical virtue. Let's consider the story of Jack. He lives by the quiet strength of Stoic principles. Every week, he volunteers at a community shelter, not for recognition, but out of conviction. He helps serve meals, listens without judgment, and offers presence where it's needed most. One bitter winter morning, Jack saw a young man curled up on a bench, freezing and alone. He didn't post about it. He didn't tell anyone what happened next. He simply invited the man into a small cafe, bought him a warm meal and sat with him. He asked questions. He listened. He made sure the man felt seen, human again. That moment, shared only between 2 souls, carried more weight than 1,000 public acts. Jack didn't tell the story, not because he was ashamed of doing good, but because he believed the value was in the act itself, not in who noticed it. And that's the Stoic way. Kindness loses its purity when it becomes a performance. The greatest deeds are those done with no expectation of acknowledgement, because they come from the soul, not from ego. When we serve others quietly, we honor both them and ourselves. We find fulfillment in being useful, not celebrated. The true Stoic sees goodness as a personal duty, not as a stage. They know a helping hand doesn't need a headline. A kind word doesn't need an audience. Compassion doesn't need a microphone. There's something sacred in doing what is right, even when no one sees. This doesn't mean we hide our impact or diminish generosity. It means we detach from the need for recognition. It means we're not moved by applause, but by alignment. We help not because others are watching, but because we know who we are when no one is. So let your kindness shine quietly. Let it glow like the candle that changes a room without making noise. Be generous because it's right. Be compassionate because it's needed. And keep your goodness rooted in intention, not attention. That's where the most powerful acts are born, in silence, in sincerity, and in strength. Topic 7. Keep future goals to yourself. We often believe that telling others about our plans will help them take shape, that their support or feedback will propel us forward. But research, as well as ancient wisdom, suggests otherwise. The more we talk about our goals, the less likely we are to achieve them. Psychological studies going back as far as 1933 confirm this. One experiment by W. Mahler showed that when a person shares a goal and receives recognition or praise, their brain may begin to feel as if the goal has already been completed, even if no actual progress has been made. In other words, by talking about what we intend to do, we create a false sense of satisfaction that drains the motivation we need to follow through. Stoicism teaches us that the future is uncertain, a blank page not yet written. And because of that, it deserves our discipline and our quiet focus, not our predictions and declarations. Choosing not to speak of future plans doesn't mean you lack ambition. It means you're guarding your intent, nurturing it privately, and resisting the premature reward of external validation. When your focus stays on present action, not future promises, you live more fully. You move with purpose, not pressure. You value what you're doing now, not what you might do later. There's also humility in this silence. In a world where people rush to share every vision, every resolution, every strategy, the one who holds their plan close shows true confidence. They're not looking for applause. They're building in quiet. This is not to say you must walk the path entirely alone. There are times when sharing your intentions with a trusted partner, mentor, or accountability companion is helpful. Sometimes we need support. Sometimes guidance strengthens us. But those moments should be the exception, not the habit. Because your growth, your dream, your mission, it is yours to protect. And nothing compromises that more than letting the world weigh in before you've taken the first step. When you talk less, you do more. When you stop announcing, you start building. When you rely less on encouragement and more on self-discipline, you begin to transform. That's what the Stoic life calls for. Not grand declarations, but consistent steps. Let your actions speak louder than your promises. Let your goals remain in the sacred space of your own mind. Protected, focused, alive. And when they bear fruit, the silence that preceded them will only make their presence more powerful. Topic 8. Keep your vulnerabilities private. Have you ever questioned whether it's wise to reveal your weaknesses to others? The Stoic answer is clear: it's better not to. And here's why. Those very admissions, though they may seem honest or cathartic in the moment, can easily be turned against you. Not always out of malice. Sometimes even those who care for you, consciously or not, may exploit your most sensitive truths. There's a vital distinction between faults and vulnerabilities. A fault is a personal shortcoming, a trait or habit that we can recognize, improve, and take responsibility for. A weakness, however, is something more delicate. It's the tender area of the soul that, when exposed, makes us emotionally reactive, unsettled, or easily harmed. To illustrate, Think about anger. Most people don't get angry when someone does something right. Anger often arises from injustice, disrespect, or perceived harm. And if someone knows that anger is your weakness, they can provoke it repeatedly. When we speak openly about what triggers us, our emotional vulnerabilities, we offer others a map. And unfortunately, not everyone uses that map to protect us. Some use it to navigate ways to undermine us. This creates a vicious loop. You reveal pain. Someone exploits it. You feel even more exposed. And slowly, you begin to lose confidence in your ability to grow beyond those weaknesses. But the Stoic path is different. Instead of handing others your vulnerabilities, you face them privately. You confront what weakens you, not by announcing it, but by working through it with resolve and clarity. There is incredible strength in the choice to overcome quietly, to fight your inner battles behind closed doors, to refine yourself without seeking comfort in confession. This isn't secrecy born from fear, it's self-respect rooted in discipline. It's not about denying your humanity, it's about choosing who deserves access to your inner world, and when. And it's about guarding the peace you're building, because once your vulnerabilities are protected, they no longer control you. Once you stop advertising what hurts you, the world loses its power to wound you through them. Protect your boundaries. Honor your journey. Work through your fragilities until they no longer define you. And when the time comes, if ever, you choose who to open up to. Not because you need to, but because it serves something greater: connection, wisdom, or healing. Until then, let your silence be your strength. Let your self-work be your shield. And let your progress be made not through exposure, but through quiet mastery. Topic 9. Keep your greatest aspirations sacred. There's a unique kind of dream that lives deep within us, so meaningful, so personal, that speaking it aloud too soon can weaken it. This isn't just advice about privacy. It's a deeper principle of Stoic wisdom, that some things grow best in silence. Imagine you carry a dream to write a book that could change lives. You haven't written it yet, but you've seen it in your mind, its pages, its message, the people it could reach. Then you mention it to someone, and in return, you're met with doubt, criticism, or lukewarm indifference. Suddenly, the energy behind that dream starts to shift. The pressure rises, the confidence fades, and the clarity you once held begins to blur. This is why keeping your greatest dream unspoken, at least in its early stages, is not secrecy. It's preservation. In silence, you nurture that vision. You give it the space to take shape without interference. You remove the noise of other people's opinions, fears, or misinterpretations. This creates a sanctuary for the dream to grow strong, to evolve in its own time, to deepen in meaning and intention. It's also an act of self-reliance, a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. When you keep your dream close, you take full responsibility for bringing it to life. You develop the mental strength to move forward without applause, without external encouragement, without needing others to believe in it first. Think of a seed planted in dark, quiet soil. It needs protection before it's ready to break the surface. Too much attention too early can damage it. It must root itself before it can rise. The same is true of your most sacred aspirations. And when you refrain from sharing them, you're not denying their importance. You're honoring it. You're giving yourself time to grow into the version of you who is capable of carrying that dream into reality. And when the moment is right, when the vision has matured and the foundation is strong, then, and only then, do you let the world see what you've built. Until then, let your silence be your strategy. Let your dream grow strong in your heart, not in the spotlight. Let it shape you before it introduces itself to the world. That is the Stoic path. Quiet creation, steady devotion, and unshakable independence. Topic 10. Keep your solitude undisturbed. There's a sacred quality to solitude. It's not loneliness, it's an intimate meeting with your own soul, stripped of noise, free of expectation. In these quiet moments, we encounter who we truly are, not the version we present to the world, but the unguarded self that lies beneath. And yet, these experiences lose their depth when they are spoken of too easily or too often. Solitude is meant to be felt, not narrated. It's where we confront our fears, not to run from them, but to understand them. It's where we connect with something beyond distraction, a stillness that reminds us we don't need to be surrounded to be whole. Stoicism teaches that in silence, strength is forged. And when you're alone, not lonely but purposefully separate, you begin to see that self-respect isn't about image. It's about how you treat yourself when no one's watching. In solitude, you're not seeking approval, you're learning to exist without it. That's why speaking of your solitary reflections too soon or too casually can diminish them. Those sacred pauses in life are not for public display. They are where you wrestle with questions that don't yet have answers, where you learn to hear your own inner voice, unobstructed by others. These are moments that transform, not because they're glamorous, but because they're honest. When we remain silent about them, we preserve their power. We let them root deeper within us. In solitude, you realize something profound. You do not need external validation to grow, to heal, or to feel whole. You learn to rely on your own judgment, to trust your own values, to walk forward in peace, even when the world is moving in chaos. And in doing so, you cultivate something few people ever truly know: inner stability. So, hold your solitary moments close. Let them be a private dialogue between you and the universe. A quiet classroom where your soul becomes your teacher. You don't need to post about your self-reflection. You don't need to explain why you chose to be still or alone. That silence is part of the lesson. That privacy is part of the strength. Solitude is not something you need to justify. It's something you're allowed to honor. So let it remain yours. Let it nourish your spirit. Let it sharpen your purpose. Let it keep you grounded in a world that pulls in every direction. And when you re-emerge from that sacred space, carry its calm with you, not as a story to tell, but as a strength to live by. As we've journeyed through these 10 quiet disciplines, one truth has become clear. What we choose not to say is just as powerful as what we do say. Each topic, whether it's about your struggles, your plans, your dreams, or your solitude, is more than just a subject to avoid. It's a boundary, a signal, a commitment to protect what matters most: your peace, your progress, your purpose. By being mindful of what we withhold, we create space for deeper focus and sharper self-awareness. We free ourselves from the noise of validation, the weight of comparison, and the chaos of unnecessary conversation. This is not withdrawal from the world. It's the art of moving through it with control. The Stoic path isn't about becoming cold or distant. It's about becoming clear. Clear in your direction, grounded in your values, unshakable in your center. So take a moment now, reflect. Which of these 10 areas have you already begun to protect? Which ones still invite distraction into your life? Start where you are. Apply one lesson at a time, not with pressure, but with quiet intention. And if this message stirred something in you, If it sparked a sense of calm, strength, or truth, don't let that insight fade. Leave a comment below. Share which of the 10 lessons you're going to focus on. Or simply write, "I am choosing silence as strength." That one sentence can be your anchor. And if you found value in this journey, support it. Like the video. Share it with someone who's walking their own path toward peace. And subscribe if you haven't already. We are building a community of thinkers, seekers, and silent warriors who believe in living with purpose, not performance. Above all, remember this. Every moment you choose to protect your inner world, you grow stronger. Every time you stay silent with intention, you gain clarity. And every step you take toward stillness is a step toward freedom. Thank you for walking this path with me. Live simply. Live honestly. Live as a Stoic. Until next time, hold your ground.